and welcome to this special series on the Check-In podcast, where we explore what it really means to lead well-being at work, at school, and at home. In this series, we're talking with leaders, educators, community builders who are creating cultures of purpose and care and connection. Today's guest is Mr. Vince Galea. Vince, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Nelson, for having me. It's great to be with you today.
Vince, please tell the audience who you are.
Sure. Thanks so much. So my name is Vince Galea, and I am a school administrator. So I'm an elementary school principal in the Toronto area. This would be my 19th year in education and my 9th year in school administration, and enjoying very much this calling and this vocation to support students and staff and families. So it's a wonderful opportunity to reach a lot of people being a school administrator and to shape a lot of lives, that's for sure.
Setting them on the right track. I love that. So first question right out of the box here, Vince. What does well-being at school mean to you personally?
Well, so one of the things that we chat about a lot at school and with staff is that kids who are not happy and feeling welcomed and comfortable and well-adjusted and well-regulated and feeling like they are loved and that they belong, if they don't have those feelings, they don't learn well, right? So certainly our work in schools is to make sure that we're supporting students from a curriculum perspective and we're teaching, but also, we have to look at the child as a whole and make sure that we are supporting them also in terms of their wellness and their mental health and that they're cared for, right? And so when kids feel that way, they're going to learn. And likewise, I think when staff also feel supported and empowered, and that they're cared for as well, that they're more than just a two-dimensional being, that there's more to them than just what they do in their schools every day, that they will also perform better. And that's great for kids, right? So well taken care of staff are also going to make sure that kids are well taken care of in our schools.
Awesome. And having been in there for 19 years, what kind of evolution have you seen since you first started?
Well, I will say that I sometimes joke, my wife's also an educator. She's actually a kindergarten teacher, and we talk a lot about how, our careers, the environment around us has changed over the last 19 years because she's been in the game about as long as I have. And sometimes I don't recognize exactly the work that we do today to what we did, sort of 19 years ago. It's changed a lot. But I think that the most important thing, again, is to really just make sure that you're taking care of the people around you, that you're taking care of the kids that are in your class, and just being a good human being, right? Like we're in schools, I think we're always working towards the ideal. But we're humans and we're not perfect, right? So we're imperfect people working towards a perfect situation or this ideal situation. But I think remembering the humanity piece and that we're all just people in the end, and making sure that, understanding that we're all coming from a good place, we're all trying to do the best we can every single day, giving people the benefit of the doubt and believing in the best in people is really important in education for sure.
Absolutely. And Vince, can you share one thing that your school does, big or small, that supports mental health among staff and students?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, something that we're really excited about at the particular school I'm at right now is we've started an initiative called Thoughtful Thursdays. And so what we do is every Thursday in the afternoon, we set aside a dedicated time for a school-wide wellness activity. So for example, last week we did body scans. And so the entire school quiets and we have a group of students supported by their teachers and support staff come on our PA and they lead the whole school through this mindfulness activity. Today, actually just before we got together, Nelson, I was chatting with the teacher about this week's activity. So we're going to be doing some mindfulness coloring, right? So students are going to have a chance to quiet themselves with some music and do some coloring. And we're planning school-wide dance parties and physical activity and just things that help to elevate, wellness and just taking care of ourselves and our needs too.
That's amazing. I'm dating myself, but I can tell you in my elementary school, there was no such discussion ever, to do with mental health. So to see how far it's come in such a short period of time, and there's a lot more to go, obviously, right? What's one challenge that you're faced with in supporting well-being at your school, Vince?
Well, I just think in general, I don't think it's specific to my school. I think, from a student perspective, like in 2025, students deal with a lot more than certainly we did when we were in school, right? And if there's one thing that I can think of specifically, especially as students get older, it's sort of the impact that social media has on our kids. The doom scrolling and the Instagrams and the TikToks and the constantly watching, these ideals that are posted online, and then comparing your situation to what you see online, which is not real, right? And so really helping kids understand the difference between, perception, reality, and not to compare themselves to what they see online, because that does take an impact on, their self-image, the way that they see themselves, the way that they relate to the world around them. I think too that the increased amount of time that kids have spent on social media or gaming, let's say, for example, a lot of the online interactions takes away from their human to human interactions, right? And really, I don't know anyone that will come around and say that when they haven't spent quality time with someone meaningful to them, that hasn't been good for their soul and been good for them too, right? So I think that's one challenge, is really helping kids navigate the online piece and helping them understand how to keep positive interactions with other kids, other adults in their lives, important people, because that's good for all of us. And then from a staff perspective, I think, the schools have become increasingly difficult places to work, right? And it's not because anyone's trying to be difficult. It's just navigating the reality of, again, the world we live in now. And so the added pressures on staff and teachers, support staff, administrators too, for that matter, we have to really be mindful of being, trying to take care of the people that are in our building, in our charge, because if they're not at their best, then they can't give their best to their kids, right? To the students. You can't pour from an empty vessel. So I think from a staff perspective, it's making sure that people are trying to find the time to look after themselves. We talk a lot, not just in education, but also in other sectors too. You hear about, self-care and take care of yourself, but it often feels like it's an afterthought. It's something that you do after the workday is over. And I think, in going back to the idea at our school around these Thoughtful Thursdays, it's trying to say, well, where can we embed a practice into our day? Yes, it's good for students, but the staff are benefiting from some quiet time where they also can do a body scan or some mindful coloring, or join a dance party, and those are all things that feel good, right?
Absolutely. So we talked about students, we talked about teachers. How do you personally maintain your sense of balance and well-being, Vince?
Well, I can honestly say that I wasn't always very good at it. And that goes back to what you said about the fact that many years ago in school, we didn't talk about these things, and now we need to talk about them much more. So similarly, I wasn't always great about looking after myself. But in the last couple of years, I've really made a much more conscious effort to make sure that there are certain things that are non-negotiables in my week, that are time for me. I used to think that if I spent time looking after myself, that I was taking away from the work that I needed to do. But the reality is that when I am intentional about building some time in for me, and for me lately, I like to go to the gym. I like to exercise. I like to just sit quietly on the weekends or in the evenings, late in the evenings, and just have a cup of tea in silence, and just be with my thoughts, maybe do a bit of journaling. I've started journaling in the last few months too, which I find helpful. But doing those things actually does make me better and allows me to be more productive in the time that I am 150% tuned into my work, because I'm not so tired all the time. I'm not so stressed out and taxed. And so that also has been the message for my staff as well. You don't need to apologize or feel badly for taking care of yourself. I guilted myself for a lot of years, and I don't want my staff to feel the same way. So it's just helping with the messaging. And it's not just about, as I mentioned, just doing the dance party or just having treats in the staff room. It's about having real conversations about people to say, you don't need permission to take care of yourself, right?
Oh, love that phrase. I'm writing that one down. I know journaling for me, when I was going through my dark times, journaling was huge. And at first I started journaling about what I was experiencing, but I found that to actually aggravate what I was experiencing. So I kind of switched gears, and being an only child, a lot of the stories of my parents kind of go with me. So I just started writing like an autobiography of like, okay, what are my memories of kindergarten and grade 1? And I went through each year as best as I could. And just quieting the space around you produces produces so much good in the brain, in your body, in your soul, when you kind of just quiet the world around you and just, focus on yourself. So if you could offer one piece of advice to fellow educators, Vince, about creating that kind of culture, what would it be?
I would say, don't be afraid to set some boundaries for yourself. It's and there's a way to do it that is respectful. There's a way to do it that is kind. It's not about putting hands up and saying, "Oh no, I can't do that. I don't want to do it." But I think it's okay to set some boundaries, and let folks into the fact that maybe you are trying to take care of yourself too, because I think that models for others who are maybe also having a hard time with understanding how to take care of themselves, see that you are doing that too. And I think especially in schools, that's especially important, because what we our kids are always watching us. Everything we do, our students watch us. And if we model for them that we don't know how to take care of ourselves, then they will follow suit as they become adults into their lives and not take care of themselves either. So I think it's okay to set boundaries. I think it's okay to model appropriate ways to set boundaries, and to let people see the things that you do to take care of yourself, so that our children, our students that are watching us, will learn how to do that for themselves too as they get older.
Awesome. So fast forward, whatever the date is that Vince is retiring, how would you like your staff and students? What's one word that you'd like them to, that you think they would describe you as?
I think my staff would describe me, and folks who've worked with me before, as being very energetic, motivating, passionate about the work that I get to do every day. I really do see my position as I'm quite privileged to be able to be in this role, and I always want to use my power, my privilege as a school administrator to be able to support others. Not everyone gets to do that work. Pressure is privilege. I often say that to staff as well. Yeah, we do feel pressure in our work, but we're lucky to be able to do this. Not everyone gets this opportunity. So I would hope that people would remember me, or would describe me certainly as being passionate. And, down the road at retirement, I just hope that people will look back and say, you know what, he cared, and I think that's a huge compliment. It doesn't sound like a big deal. Oh, he cared, right? But it is. I think sometimes it's rare to meet people who genuinely do care about others and want to see other people successful. I enjoy being successful, but I also like to see others achieve success. And I hope that would be something that people will remember of me. I really think that leaders need to create future leaders to be able to support the good work down the road. So that's how I hope folks might remember me one day.
And last one, Vince, what gives you hope about the future of education and well-being?
You know what, despite the fact that, the challenges are there, and there's many of them, and they seem to become more and more, it never stops our kids from achieving all kinds of amazing things that, sometimes they come and they surprise us. They blow us out of the water with what it is that they're able to do. And that's what gives me hope, right? Is because despite the challenges that exist, it doesn't stop kids from achieving. Certainly it's helpful to have caring adults along the way that will help to remove barriers and open up opportunities and guide kids into certain things that might be great for them down the road, or in preparation for those things. But that's what gives me hope, is just to continue seeing kids do great things. I was really lucky a few weeks ago, actually I was talking about it this morning, to go for dinner with some students that I taught in my second year teaching. So I taught them like 18 years ago. They happened to find me. They looked me up. We connected over email, and then decided to get together for a dinner. And it was just so good to hear, what they've been up to and what they've accomplished, and remembering some of the challenges that they experienced in the classroom many years ago. And so that's what gives me hope, is to see those kids now many years down the road and know that they've gone on to lead, great, productive, successful lives, and that they're good people too, and that they're now influencing the next group of kids coming up, whether they're educators or not, right? They're great role models. So
yeah, absolutely. I had a similar experience when I used to coach youth soccer, and I ran into one of the kids. I used to call him the train, because this kid had no brakes. He was just full go, and ran into him in a store, and he looked at me and says, "Hey, coach, how are you?" But obviously his voice had changed. He's like, young adult, and I was just like, whoa. And for him to still call me coach, that really touched me and moved me, right? So we have a lot of influence over the students and our peers. And I think if you lead with care and you lead with kindness, I think we're good. I think that's one of the best steps. So Vince, thank you so much for participating. Really appreciate it. And yeah, best of luck to you, to your school, to your staff today and moving forward.
Thanks so much, Nelson. Thanks for the opportunity. It was great to chat with you.